It was my birthday party, but my girlfriend, Ella Davis, showed up late, and she brought her first love, Jason Miller, with her. After a few rounds of drinks, a drunk Jason suddenly grabbed Ella's hand and confessed he regretted breaking up with her. Ella, moved to tears, reminisced about their time together, and even said she regretted breaking up with him. Everyone's eyes quietly turned to me, expecting me to get angry. But I just raised my glass, calmly took a sip, and looked at them. The mood's already like this. Why don't you two just get back together now? The room fell silent in surprise. After all, I had been mocked since college as Ella's doormat, the guy who came when called and left when dismissed. I was never known to say something like this. Even Ella was shocked, glaring at me like I'd said something inappropriate. Jason then walked over and patted my shoulder, laughing. "We're just joking, man. Don't take it seriously." Our class president quickly chimed in. "Yeah, Samuel, you're about to marry Ella soon. Don't take their jokes to heart." I let out a hoarse chuckle. "You're joking." "I'm not." Ella immediately frowned. "Samuel Reed, are you crazy? Why are you making a big deal out of nothing?" My good friend Owen Parker stepped in and put his arm around my shoulder. "What's wrong? Are you allowed to flirt with your ex, but not allowed to get upset?" Ella shot Owen a cold glance, but said nothing. Jason tried to explain something to me, but I was already annoyed and gave him a light push. I swear I didn't use any force, but Jason staggered back 2 steps and then fell flat on the floor. Anyone who saw it would think I pushed him hard. Ella rushed to Jason's side, kneeling anxiously, asking if he was okay. Jason didn't respond to Ella, but hurriedly defended me. "It wasn't Samuel. He didn't push me." I was speechless. Jason always plays these mind games, twisting things around, yet Ella always falls for it. She immediately looked at me with fierce eyes and ordered, "Samuel Reed, apologize to Jason Miller." See, it's always like this. Even when I'm innocent, Ella finds a way to blame me. I stayed still, calmly meeting Ella's gaze. "Ella Davis, let's break up." Ella's anger flared. She glared at me and yelled, "Are you crazy? You want to break up just over this?" I shook my head without a word. For years, Ella had been secretly seeing Jason behind my back. She thought I didn't know, but my disappointment in her had been piling up. Now, I refused to be the doormat who follows her around and listens to every whim. Before Ella arrived at my birthday party, I ran into her and Jason together. They were all over each other, though Ella looked reluctant. I forgot. "So what? Why remind me?" she said, sounding annoyed. I stood silently watching them. It turned out she was late because she hadn't even remembered it was my birthday. My feet felt rooted to the spot, unable to move. I knew it would hurt, but I wanted to hear more. Jason said, "Ella, you're Samuel's girlfriend. It's his birthday. Of course, you should be there." I didn't believe Jason's sudden kindness. He always spoke with a hidden agenda, trying to stir trouble between Ella and me. This time was no different. Ella looked at Jason with sympathy and quietly took his hand. "Jason, you're too kind. Samuel's always petty and targeting you, yet you're still good to him." Jason smiled. "Samuel actually took good care of me in college." How ridiculous. Jason still dares to bring up college. Ella and I have known each other since high school. We were desk mates for 3 years. At that age, when feelings first blossom, I fell in love with Ella. To go to the same university as her, I even deliberately left a math question unanswered on my college entrance exam. In the end, I was overjoyed when we got admitted to the same university and enrolled in the same major. But I never expected Jason Miller to come out of nowhere and steal her away. Jason was my roommate, and we started out as good friends. So, during a dormitory team-building event, I told Jason I liked Ella. Jason said we were a perfect match and encouraged me to be brave and pursue her. I felt confident because of his encouragement. But soon after, Ella and Jason started dating. I confronted Jason. He said Ella confessed to him first, and he realized he had feelings for her too. So he agreed. I was furious, feeling betrayed. But after calming down, I realized Jason Miller hadn't really done anything wrong. After all, Ella Davis liked him, not me. Back then, I thought as long as Ella was happy, nothing else mattered. So, I genuinely wished Jason and Ella well. That was until we graduated in our senior year, and Jason suddenly vanished abroad without a word, cutting off all contact with us. Ella was devastated for a long time because of that. I couldn't bear to see her so broken. So, I tried to find out where Jason had gone. What I discovered shocked me. He'd gone overseas to latch onto some wealthy woman and was basically acting as a free stepdad abroad. Knowing this, I was even more afraid to hurt Ella. So, I kept it from her. Instead, I took care of her meticulously, hoping my sincerity could move her, and it worked. On Ella's 23rd birthday, I confessed my feelings, and she said yes. We shared a happy time like countless loving couples do. For a while, I even believed I held a place in Ella's heart that surpassed Jason's. But then, about a year ago, Jason returned to the country, and I found out the truth. Ella never forgot Jason. She started spending all day and night with Jason again, and began coming home late or not at all. One time, I simply called to ask where she was and was met with a barrage of insults. She spat. "Samuel Reed, who do you think you are? What I do and who I'm with is none of your business." My heart shattered. Gritting my teeth, I reminded her, "I'm your boyfriend." She just sneered. "Boyfriend? If I say you are, you are. If I say you're not, you're not." Got it. After that, I stopped asking about her whereabouts, hoping she'd pull herself together. But she only got worse. That farce at my birthday party was the final straw. After sending the other guests home, I looked back to see Ella and Jason had already left. I had no reaction. I just left the restaurant and went home. This was the home I'd carefully prepared for Ella. She said she wasn't used to the small apartment, so I saved up and got her a nice place in a good neighborhood. Though we weren't married yet, I wanted to give her my all, but she didn't appreciate it. I walked over to the living room sofa and took down the couple's photo of Ella and me. That photo shoot was my idea. I wanted to have something nice to decorate the home. Ella wasn't enthusiastic about it back then, so the pictures looked stiff and awkward, like strangers. She was also upset because she wanted to go find Jason Miller that day. Still, it was our first official photo together, so I picked the best one to hang on the wall. Looking at it now, it felt like a cruel joke. Just as I was about to put the photo away in storage, Ella came in through the door. She caught me coming out of the storage room, glanced at the sofa, frowned, and snapped, "Are you crazy? Didn't you make enough trouble at the restaurant? What's this drama now?" I didn't look at her. I started packing up her things from the living room. "Haven't we already broken up?" I asked calmly. Ella stormed over, grabbing my hand. "How dare you bring up breaking up?" I shrugged off her hand and looked at her, puzzled. "Why not? Didn't you say you regretted breaking up with Jason Miller?" "Well, now I'm granting your wish. Everyone's happy." Honestly, Ella's reaction wasn't what I expected. I thought she'd be relieved and agree, but now I honestly didn't understand her. At that moment, Jason Miller suddenly walked in through the door, wearing an aggrieved look as he hurried to explain. "Samuel, Ella, and I aren't what you think. That restaurant thing was just a joke. Don't take it seriously." I looked him in the eye and asked, "You don't like Ella Davis?" That was a loaded question. Jason was caught off guard and stammered, "And no, that's not it." I spread my hands. "Well, then I'm helping you too. Can you leave my house now?" Ella snapped angrily. "This is my home, too. Who do you think you were to kick me out?" I gave her a contemptuous smile. "You didn't want this place at first, so your name's not on the deed. I paid for it, and it's under my name. If you don't leave, I'll report you for trespassing." Ella's bravado faltered. She came closer and meekly said, "Samuel Reed, stop this. My dad's waiting to celebrate our wedding." I said flatly, "Your dad can celebrate your wedding with Jason Miller." Then Jason, seeing I was stubborn, held Ella's hand and said, "Ella, since Samuel said that, just forget it." To everyone's surprise, Ella glared at Jason. "This is between me and Samuel Reed. What's it got to do with you?" I pursed my lips, confused by Ella. She was like a ticking time bomb, impossible to read. Jason looked awkward, his eyes darting around, saying nothing more. I was already dizzy from the alcohol, and listening to their back and forth made me even more disoriented. Finally, I lost it and shouted, "Ella Davis, I really don't want to see you anymore." Ella seemed shocked by my outburst. In all the time we'd known each other, she'd never heard me say anything like that. I wasn't sure if my eyes were playing tricks on me. I even thought I saw her eyes glisten with tears. Then, in a fit of stubbornness, she stormed off. Jason Miller, dropping his usual polite demeanor, shot me a smug look and followed her out. That night, I actually slept well for once. I woke up around noon the next day and ordered takeout. Back when Ella Davis was around, every night after work, I'd go grocery shopping, cooking every dish she liked. After dinner and washing the dishes, I prepared her lunch for the next day's work day after day tirelessly. Yet, despite all this, I never earned so much as a compliment from her. She often complained that my cooking lacked variety and wasn't as good as what she could get outside. I still remember one day when I had the day off. Exhausted but determined, I got up early to go to the supermarket. I carefully made her favorite sweet and sour ribs and brought them to her office. Her coworkers all envied her, saying she had a great boyfriend. Even Ella herself surprised me by kissing me on the cheek in front of everyone. I thought for sure she was happy with what I made. But not long after I left, I realized I'd forgotten my keys and went back. That's when I saw Ella throwing all the food I'd made into the trash. Her coworkers asked if she was crazy. Ella sneered as she slammed the trash can lid shut. All you know is cooking. I'm sick of these dishes. Just smelling them makes me want to puke. I clenched my fists, desperate to confront her, but pride held me back from going up to her. That day, I sat alone by the door for a long time until Ella came home from work. When she finally walked in, I couldn't hold back and asked why she'd thrown away the food I made. She just took off her coat, flopped down on the couch, and said indifferently, "Didn't you hear me? I'm tired from work. Stop asking pointless questions." Ella knew. She knew I'd seen her trash my cooking. Yet, she acted as if it was no big deal, as if she'd done nothing wrong. After that, I stopped cooking for her, and she still found reasons to criticize me. No matter what I did, she found fault. But now it's finally peaceful. After eating, I focus on my own things. Without Ella, I've realized I have more time to do what I want. I was foolish before, always revolving around Ella. But now I understand I'm the most important person in my own life. Everyone knows about my breakup with Ella Davis. After learning about her situation, my boss transferred me to headquarters, promoted me, and assigned me to a position with no dealings that might cross paths with Ella. On my first day, I was surprised to find a new marketing director at headquarters was Natalie White, a former college classmate. We weren't in the same class, but we worked in the same department and got along well. But after I started dating Ella, I drifted away from other female friends, including her. Today was Friday, and since tomorrow was the weekend, Natalie invited Owen, Parker, and me out to dinner. We went to the best restaurant near the university, a place the three of us often frequented back then. I smiled at Natalie and said, "Natalie, I never expected we'd end up working at the same company." She smiled back warmly. Neither did I. Owen poured us 3 beers and said, "Thanks to Ella Davis." Really, my buddy was blunt. He'd always told me to leave Ella sooner, but I didn't listen. Now that we've broken up, he's probably the happiest of all. Natalie looked a bit confused and asked, "What do you mean?" I wanted to drink a little more and get into the spirit. So, I told them everything about Ella and me, especially what happened on my birthday. When I mentioned that day, Natalie slammed her fist on the table. "Ella Davis is terrible. How could she treat you like that?" See, even Natalie, who just met me again, was angry for me. I admire myself for holding on this long. Owen and Natalie looked serious, but I raised my glass and said, "Let's not talk about Ella today. Tonight is to celebrate our first reunion since college graduation." Natalie and Owen clinked their glasses with me. I drank to my heart's content, ignoring my stomach issues and wanting to drink more. But Owen grabbed my glass. "Samuel, your stomach isn't good. Drink less. I have to go home to my girlfriend tonight, so no hospital runs for you." Natalie also urged me to drink less. The three of us chatted in the restaurant until late at night. Natalie glanced at her watch and waved. "I have to go. You guys get to sleep in tomorrow. I have to move early." I asked, "Where are you moving to?" "Owen, and I can help if you want," she said to Jia Community. Owen and I exchanged looks. Owen patted my shoulder. "That's perfect. Samuel lives in Jia Community. I'm taking my girlfriend home tomorrow, so this job's all yours." Natalie White didn't refuse either. She smiled and said she'd treat me to a meal after the move. I didn't decline and raised my drink to toast her. The next day, I helped Natalie move into her new place. By the time we finished unpacking, it was already evening. Natalie had originally planned to take me to that trendy restaurant downtown, but after all the moving, we were too tired and just ordered takeout instead. Her place was still cluttered with unpacked little things, so we decided to eat at my place. Luckily, we live in the same building, just a quick elevator ride apart. Every time Natalie and I met, we found new topics to talk about. Even though it had been 5 or 6 years since graduation, our shared interests still connected us. That was something I never experienced with Ella Davis. She always found what I liked boring and belittled my hobbies. Thinking back, even after dating Ella for so long, she never gave me any emotional support. What I wasn't completely broken by her gaslighting is purely because of my own strong will. While we were chatting, the doorbell suddenly rang. Both of us assumed it was the delivery guy. Natalie was closer to the door, so she got up to open it. But as soon as she opened it, I heard a sharp scream outside. "Natalie White, what are you doing at Samuel's place?" I recognized Ella Davis's voice. Ella and Natalie had never gotten along since college, and I guess that hadn't changed. I stood up and went to the door, frowning as I looked at Ella. "What do you want?" Ella screamed again. "Samuel Reed, did you break up with me because of Natalie White? I've suspected you two were up to something since college." I knew something was wrong. I shrugged and shot back. "What's wrong?" "I only reconnected with Natalie after transferring to headquarters. This has nothing to do with you or Jason Miller." Ella shook her head. "Jason and I really have nothing going on. Samuel, please believe me." I honestly didn't understand Ella. She used to act like she wanted to break up with me, but now that I did, she was desperate to keep me. Ella wiped tears from her eyes and shook the cake she was carrying. "Samuel, you didn't get to eat your cake yesterday. I'm making it up to you today. Don't cook lunch. Let's eat out. I remember you loved that hot pot place by the university. How about we go now?" She looked at me with those big round eyes, blinking innocently, almost endearing. If this had been before, I probably would have forgiven her, but not now. I hated how she acted like I was easy to fool. I sat down without moving and said softly, "My stomach's bad. I can't eat spicy food." Ella probably forgot. My stomach only got worse because of her. That year, both Ella and I had just started working. To stand out among the new hires, I worked insanely hard to hit my targets. Ella and I were in the same team, so our performance was linked. Feeling sorry for her since she had to entertain clients for work, I took over her social engagements. For 2 weeks, I was out every night. That's how I landed the company's biggest deal. But I drank so much that I ended up hospitalized with a stomach bleed and had to recover for a long time. Since then, my stomach's been fragile, requiring medication regularly. When I returned to work, I found out Ella had taken credit for the deal. Of course, I was angry, but Ella apologized to me like never before. She called me baby affectionately, kissed me, and said she loved me. At that moment, blinded by love, I forgave her on the spot. Thinking back now, I want to slap myself. For a while, Ella did care about me, worrying about my stomach problems. But later she stopped paying attention and even called me a drama queen when I got sick. She loved spicy hot pots so much, and I put up with my stomach pain just to go with her. But now I'm done sacrificing myself for her. Ella seemed to remember something and quickly said, "Okay, no hot pot. Let's go to the tea restaurant. You like pork tripe chicken soup, right?" I looked at her a little puzzled. Ella froze, not understanding my expression. I stared at her and slowly said, "Ella Davis, I don't like pork tripe chicken soup. You're mistaken. I never liked it, not even once since I was a kid. And I rarely went to tea restaurants with her." Ella looked a bit embarrassed. Just then the doorbell rang again. I walked over and opened the door, took the takeout from the delivery guy, and, without looking at Ella, said, "Natalie and I are going to eat. Can you leave now?" Ella Davis came over and set the cake down on the table, her face a little flushed with anger, her cheeks puffed out in a pout. "Samuel Reed, I already swallowed my pride and apologized to you. Don't act like you're getting something out of it and playing innocent." I looked up at her. "So, what you're saying is, no matter what you do, as long as you apologize, I have to forgive you?" Ella put her hands on her hips. "What if I don't apologize? You're not going to break up with me anyway." I stared at her, amazed by how boldly confident she was. Every time she pretended to make up with me before, I'd always give in. So, she believed that no matter how badly she behaved, I'd never leave her. But this time, I really won't. I glanced at the cake she brought. "What's the filling?" I asked. "Mango? Why? You love mangoes, don't you?" Ella opened the cake. I let out a bitter laugh and looked at her with a mocking gaze. "Ella Davis, I have a severe mango allergy. So, who were you thinking of when you ordered this cake?" Her face froze. I guess this was the first time she remembered my mango allergy. But it was that allergy that nearly killed me on the way to the hospital not long after we started dating. It was our anniversary, and I happened to be working late, so we couldn't celebrate together. Suddenly, she showed up with a surprise. She blindfolded me from behind and shoved a spoonful of cake into my mouth, giggling. "Surprise. Aren't you happy?" At first, I was surprised, but after chewing a few bites, I realized it was mango filling. I scrambled away from her and ran to the trash to spit it out. Her first reaction wasn't concern, but blame. "What are you doing? This is a cake I made myself. You're ruining it." I grabbed a glass of water from the table to rinse my mouth, then looked up at her, irritated. "Have I told you 1,000 times I'm allergic to mangoes?" She seemed to suddenly realize, her expression shifting to one of understanding. "It should be okay. You only had a little just now. I'll go get you some allergy medicine." I wanted her to come with me to the hospital, but she didn't listen and rushed out. Not long after she left, I felt numb all over, weak beyond effort, and dizzy. Before I lost consciousness, I called 911, forcing myself to give them my location. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was alone in the hospital room. No sign of Ella Davis. The nurse told me I was lucky to have called for help in time. A little later, and I might have had cardiac arrest. I asked weakly if my girlfriend had been by. The nurse gave me a strange look. She came, but only for a short while. "You've been unconscious for a day, and she hasn't been back." I couldn't hide my disappointment. From forgetting I'm allergic to mangoes to ignoring me now, Ella had shown how little she cared. At the time, I told myself maybe she was just busy. But later, I realized Ella remembered perfectly well that Jason Miller liked mangoes, loved tea restaurants with pork tripe, chicken soup, spicy hot pot, or midnight barbecue with her. She forgot my allergy, not because she's forgetful, but because she didn't love me or care about me. When Ella realized she'd messed up, she tossed the cake near the trash bin, saying, "I was wrong. I'll order you another cake." I calmly sipped my soup. "No need. My birthday's already over." Ella grabbed my hand suddenly, causing some soup to spill on me. I wasn't angry yet, but she snapped. "Do you have to talk to me like that?" I'm apologizing sincerely. Seeing the stain on my shirt, I started to get annoyed and looked up at her. "So, I have to forgive you because you apologized? What if I killed you and then apologized? Would you forgive me?" She got flustered. "You're being way too extreme." I ignored her and reached for a tissue to clean my shirt. Ella sat down in front of me and softened her tone. "All right, our anniversary is coming up in a couple of days. I'll arrange a meeting between both our parents, and we'll set the wedding date." I looked at her in disbelief. "Excuse me, what year is your calendar from?" "Our anniversary already passed. If I remember right, I asked you out that day, but you said you were busy." Ella looked shocked. I got the date wrong. Looking at her now, I only felt disgusted and didn't want to say anything more. I had reminded her before the anniversary, and she promised we'd spend it together, but she still forgot. Not only did she forget, she ignored my calls, leaving me waiting like a joke until the restaurant closed. When she finally answered, the first thing she said was yelling at me. "Are you kidding me? I told you I was working. Why do you keep calling? Do you want to die?" At that moment, I was standing outside the restaurant, soaked to the bone from the rain. But honestly, I was only worried about Ella Davis's safety. I feared something might happen to her. Her reaction, though, tore at my heart. Once I confirmed she was okay, I hung up immediately, not wanting to say another word. Later, as I was sheltering from the rain at a nearby convenience store and grabbing some dinner, I saw two people walking outside the glass window. They were sharing an umbrella, chatting and laughing like a happy couple. But when I clearly saw the woman's face, my smile froze. It was Ella Davis. She said she was working late, yet there she was, dressed up in a short skirt, looking immaculate, walking with Jason Miller. Ella seemed to realize what I was thinking and hurried to explain. No, that day Jason Miller was sick. Since I'm the only friend he has after coming back to the country, I was just taking care of him. I didn't want to know what happened that day. I just didn't want to get tangled up with her anymore. Angrily, I said, Ella Davis, do you not understand? It's over between us. For the first time, she seemed to realize I wasn't joking, that I meant it. She quickly grabbed my hand. Samuel, please don't be like this. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but I also know I was wrong. Just forgive me. I didn't even look at her and pull my hand away. I've forgiven you enough times already. Until yesterday, I was still hoping that as long as you remember my birthday and stayed away from Jason Miller, I could pretend none of this happened. But Ella Davis, what did you do? I heard everything you said to Jason Miller in front of that restaurant. You forgot my birthday, didn't you? Ella suddenly turned soft and coy, her voice gentler than ever. Oh, I've just been so busy lately. Next time I won't forget birthdays or anniversaries. Please forgive me. She thought this sweet talk would get her forgiven. But I had no feelings left for Ella Davis. We've known each other since high school, over 10 years. Can't you just end things with some dignity? Why do I have to think of you later and feel nothing but disgust? My voice carried disdain, just like how she used to speak to me. She seemed to sense it. Her eyes widened, and soon tears streamed down her face like raindrops on a pear blossom. She wiped her tears and asked, So, why exactly are you breaking up with me? I frowned and told her bluntly, because I don't love you anymore. Hearing that, she broke down completely, crying uncontrollably and losing all composure. Suddenly, she rushed toward Natalie White and raised her hand, trying to slap her. Luckily, Natalie reacted fast and grabbed Ella's wrist. I quickly stepped between them, pulled Ella's hand back, and snapped, Ella Davis, have you lost your mind? She looked at me in disbelief. Samuel Reed, are you really scolding me because of this woman? I didn't want to look at her anymore. We're done. But Natalie White is my friend. That statement was enough to make anyone in Ella's position feel ashamed to stay. But she wasn't like that. She kept clinging to my hand desperately. Samuel, I've thought a lot these past few days. I realized I can't live without you. I still love you. I've already cut ties with Jason Miller. Please forgive me. I pulled my hand away, looking at her with disgust. No matter how many times you ask, my answer won't change. I won't forgive you, and I don't care whether you're with Jason Miller or not. You don't have to tell me. She screamed heartbreakingly. Are you serious? Even if I married Jason Miller, you wouldn't care? I warned her. Jason Miller is no good. He broke up with you because she cut me off with a cold snort. I don't want to hear it. At least he loves me. Fine. I saw no point in arguing further. Coldly, I said, well, remember to invite me. After all, we've known each other for so many years. I'll send you both a wedding gift. That seemed to hurt Ella deeply. She glared at me and then fled hurriedly. Natalie White stayed quietly behind me. I turned and apologized softly, sorry to scare you. Natalie just shrugged it off, walked to the table, and opened the takeout bag. Ella Davis has the same temper as in college. I didn't reply. Don't mention her. Natalie smiled at me and shifted the topic. We talked late into the night. Though we'd known each other for years, it felt like we were only just really getting to know one another. For the next month, I didn't see Ella Davis again. Without her around, I poured myself fully into work and landed a major project. Owen Parker kept teasing me, saying I was unlucky in love, but winning at the casino of life. In that month, I actually got promoted and received a raise much faster than before. Natalie White and I worked in perfect sync, rarely making mistakes. The next time I heard from Ella Davis was on the day I got promoted. She sent me an invitation for her and Jason Miller's wedding. I looked at her wedding photos with Jason Miller, but said nothing. Natalie White came to me holding her invitation and, noticing the one on my desk, shrugged with a knowing look. Ella Davis sending invitations to both me and Natalie was obviously intentional. But I had already agreed, so I wasn't going to back out. Besides, by then, I had completely lost any feelings for Ella Davis. Even watching her walk down the aisle with Jason Miller stirred no emotion in me. On the wedding day, Natalie and I both attended. The money I gave as a gift was the largest among my friends. Since our university classmates knew about my history with Ella Davis, many came over to greet me when they saw me at the wedding. After exchanging a few words, I went and stood by Natalie's side. When the ceremony began and Ella Davis appeared in her wedding dress, I felt a strange sensation. Countless times, I had dreamed of seeing her in a wedding gown, and now the scene was real before my eyes. Even though I wasn't the groom, I felt nothing. When the officiant asked Ella Davis if she took Jason Miller as her husband, she slowly looked over at me in the audience. Her expression held a flicker of hope, as if she was waiting for me to stop the wedding. Jason Miller glared at me with eyes full of hatred, as if willing to kill me on the spot. All the guests turned their attention toward me, but I simply raised my glass and toasted the newlyweds. Ella's face showed shock first, then anger. She stomped her foot and told Jason Miller, "I do." After the ceremony, Natalie and I left together. When I dropped her off at her door, she suddenly grabbed my hand. "Samuel Reed, when Ella looked at you, didn't you feel even a little urge to stop the wedding?" I was a bit surprised by her question, but shook my head without hesitation. "Not at all." "That's good," Natalie said, taking a deep breath. "There's something I wanted to tell you for a long time. Samuel Reed, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend?" She said it like a weight lifted off her chest and exhaled deeply. I smiled and ruffled her hair gently. "Silly. Isn't it supposed to be the guy who confesses first?" Natalie looked up at me, clearly puzzled. I pulled out a necklace I had bought a while ago, intending to give it to her. "Natalie White, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" Natalie's mouth dropped open in surprise before she suddenly threw herself into my arms. Holding her close, I felt her warmth. The streetlight cast our long shadows on the ground. A year later, Natalie and I got married. On our wedding day, Owen Parker got drunk and insisted on telling me about Ella Davis. I didn't want to listen, but I couldn't stop a drunk man from sharing. He said Ella's year had been terrible. After marrying her, Jason Miller revealed his true colors, constantly abusing her. Ella's dowry was completely spent within a month. Jason, never satisfied, schemed to scam her parents out of money to gamble. Eventually, he lost the house at the casino. Ella wanted a divorce, but was brutally beaten by a drunken Jason Miller, who even pushed her from the third floor. If it weren't for a passerby witnessing it, Ella might not have survived. The incident caused a huge scandal, and I heard bits of it too. But the news used pseudonyms, so I didn't know the victim was Ella Davis. She survived, but lost the use of her legs and would be confined to a wheelchair for life. Jason Miller fled after pushing her down the stairs and was only recently found. During the police pursuit, he accidentally fell off a rooftop and died on the spot. I sighed at the end of this story. I had warned Ella Davis. Jason Miller was no good. She just wouldn't listen. Natalie sat silently for a long moment after hearing all this. I held her hand firmly and looked into her eyes. No matter what happened before, from now on I would be